Gangs were a big part of the 20s. Once Prohibition came into play, gangsters ran the streets of big cities such as New York and Chicago. For instance, one of the most infamous gangsters of all time is Al Capone. His drug, crime, and moonshine industry grew by the day. He made an average $60 million every year, and on the standards of the 1920s, that would be much more money today than it was then. Something in the 1920s was starting to arose, like a small flame. The KKK began their reign over America in the 20s. They used clever names for their group members, such as Wizard and Dragon. They use these names possibly to show they have power, or maybe to get attention. But whatever way possible, they gain members by getting as much attention as possible. The KKK looked down upon Catholics, Jews, African Americans, and other people who were against their organization. In 1920, Ford sold millions of cars, much more than what they sold today. Their cars ran very nicely. They are not compared to the ones we drive today, because we are more modern. But their cars back then were also amazing. They all had car meetings, like car clubs, like we do today. In the 1920s, the style of dressing was, in my opinion, much more sophisticated. The men always looked presentable, as well as the women. They were always dressed in their Sunday's best. In 1920, their high schools looked like hospitals. They were not as clean as ours today. When they took class photos, they had to be dressed elegant so they can all look great. The transportation was either walking or a school bus that only fit about 8 people inside.